Well, hello there. Welcome to Follow Everton. I am Ryan, the channel host, founder, and lead administrator here. And today I have a friend of mine with me to talk about Everton versus Wolves, and that is Corey. Corey, how are you?
I'm good, thank you, my mate. Yourself? I'm excited for to get some football back in my life.
Well, Everton have not played. It's been the international. It's not even been the international break. It's been the FA Cup break. Have you missed Everton not playing? Finally,
I have. Yeah, there was a time when we were looking forward to these kind of breaks, weren't they? For a bit of respite from the dross we were getting, but now I want it all coming thick and fast. I just want us to be able to go and show our stuff against another team and maybe get revenge for Man United and Brentford on the bounce.
7 games unbeaten. Then we can go 8 games unbeaten with a win against Wolves. Wolves flirting with relegation this season, just outside the bottom 3. Do you think Wolves are at risk of relegation, Corey, or do you think Leicester, Southampton, and Ipswich are solidly going down, and it's Wolves will kind of stay up by default, or do you think the loss of Mateus Cunha, the star striker for Wolves, will be too big of a blow for them, and they'll find themselves in the mix again?
I think they'll stay up. I do think they'll stay up, but it doesn't mean to say they're safe. There is definitely a danger there. There's only 5 points. It's a 2-game swing, isn't there? And like you said there, without Matthews Cunha for at least 2 games, then the last swing could easily just happen over the next couple of weeks. So, yeah, they're certainly a risk, but as long as heads don't fall off their side, I reckon they'll be fine. Ipswich are struggling. Leicester and Southampton are both terribly poor.
Yeah, absolutely. They do play Southampton, West Ham, and Ipswich in the next 3 games after Everton. So, and they play Leicester as well, and Man United and Palace. I mean, I look at Wolves' fixtures. They do look really quite favourable for them in a way that it puts all of their hopes and ambitions for the season into their hands. You know, if they can get a result against Southampton, West Ham, Ipswich, they play Spurs. That's the other one. So Spurs, Leicester, Palace, Brentford, United. I think there's some winnable games there for them. So they won't be as much pressure on this match, I suppose. But they'll be seeing Everton as a game they can get 3 points against, being at home. But it'll be a tough test for them. An even harder test with Mateus. Have you finished? With Mateus Cunha. Can you hear that in the background?
Yeah, I can't, but I can just see you spinning.
It's my cat. It's just give me some attention. Yeah, Mateus Cunha is such a big player for Wolves. They're almost a one-man team, Corey. You know, you find it hard to see where the real threats are aside from him. I mean, they've got a couple of good players, ain't Nori, but they seem to play really well and then make stupid errors. So I don't know if you watched a lot of them this season, but they seem to look quite neat and tidy on the eye. And then they just do something brain stupid. I mean, I thought they were quite good against Liverpool at Anfield, and then they just do brainless things like lose the ball in bad areas where they're going to get caught out, or they don't have the structure of the team there. What do you think of Wolves this season overall?
I think you've hit the nail on the head, even under Gary O'Neill as well. I think they were very much the same. They are a team that sets up to attack. Yeah, you're right in that Cunha's the main man, but even like their wide players, Nori is very good. He's a wing back, not a left back. He's very attacking. The central midfielders are all more technical and attacking based, so you don't have as many of them industrious central midfielders who are maybe going to grind you them kind of results. But they've sold their best defenders, haven't they? So if you've got a light midfield that's not very strong, it's just not very defensive, and you've sold your best defensive players, then you're going to struggle at the back.
I think one thing they have got is mobility. I think they're quite technical. I think that's what I mean by pleasing on the eye. You've got Doherty at right back, sort of right-sided centre back, but he's more of a right wing back playing as a right-sided centre back. Ain't Nori, as you say, he's more of a defensive wing. Well, he's more of a wing back, so he is technically a defender, but he's got a lot of quality going forward. How good is he defensively? I'm not so sure. Semedo on the other side, I believe he's a Portuguese right back playing right mid, but it's a weird, it's a bit, there's something not quite right with them overall, because it's the defensive structure. They concede too many goals. They've got a decent keeper in Jose Sarr, who normally has a few worldies against us, but we did beat this team 4-0 at Goodison Park earlier in the season. They're now without their best player. you'd be hoping it's an easy 3 points for Everton. And that brings us on to Everton team news. We can expect minimal returns to the team, in all honesty, Corey. But Armando Broja is one who is in and around the group again. And hopefully he'll be, a week or two away from being involved in match days. Chimiti's back and involved, Patterson, but still no Seamus Coleman. And then basing this off the Dubai clips that are only a day or two old, no Coleman, no McNeil, no Calvert-Lewins, and no Illiman and Dye. I think he's going to be a couple of weeks away. It's a threadbare squad, and that leads me to the question: is there much to debate in terms of team news ahead of Saturday, or is it very much going to be rinse and repeat and the toss of a coin between Doucouré and Alcaraz?
That is pretty much going to be the only thing we get to debate, isn't it, in terms of lineup wise? O'Brien cemented himself on that right back slot, so that's Young dropping out of there. You're not going to remove Tarkowski, Branthwaite, or Michalenko, especially because we've not got another left back. So, yeah, no, I think you're completely right. The only thing you could potentially think of is maybe if someone during that warm weather camp, maybe Tim Merigbuna, who has been getting bit part games, is he going to be brought on maybe earlier on in the game? Is he going to try and involve him a little bit more? Because Moyes said the reason he played him as little as he has and as smaller cameos as he has is that he didn't think he was fitness-wise ready to play full games yet. So there's maybe something you could have that discussion, but in all honesty, it's going to be, is it Alcaraz, is it Doucouré? And it'll probably be Doucouré.
But I don't think it should be Doucouré. Because if you look at the last match against Brentford, the amount of chances that Alcaraz created for Beto are sending him through 1v1. And although possibly his all-round game isn't quite polished, certainly gets in good positions and in key moments. Whereas if we were playing sort of like a top 6 team or someone, really technically outstanding, one of the better sides in the league, I'd say Doucouré, because I think he just gives you a bit more defensively. I think he knows how to play that role and also get forward. But I think in the away games we played, Alcaraz has just given us something extra. And also with the lack of end product, Corey, from Jack Harrison and Lindstrom, just no goals, no assists. They just can't get off the mark. We're nearly at the running 10 games left. No goals or assists for Lindstrom, and no goals or assists for Jack Harrison. So there's not a lot of options out wide. And Stu Didsbury saying, who's at right back?
That's me saying O'Brien again instead of O'Brien. I can't not. It's like stuck in my brain. So please leave me alone.
Trying to get under your skin.
Yeah, there you go.
What did you think of the trip to Dubai then? Do you think that's a well-earned break for Everton?
I think so.
Distraction?
I think the lads probably deserve it. It's probably good to... I think the morale's already good within the squad. Obviously, they're obtaining results. Every single interview and bit of press that comes out is everyone saying how much different the team is. Not just the tactics, but just personally for them. I think they deserved it, and I think it's good. It's just going to kind of build that, especially with 2 draws where we should have essentially won both games, Brentford and Manchester United. And we were disappointed to come away with draws with both of them on the basis of it after the end of the game. I think it's good to kind of rally yourself still. Let's not get too ahead of ourselves, but we're still a good team. We're still 7 unbeaten, like you said, and maybe just get a bit more camaraderie, especially the players that aren't playing at the moment and haven't been fit, that are working their way in. The Patterson, your Broja, Chimiti, and maybe even Illiman and Jai, who we're not going to see him too much, but just getting all that involvement between everyone, it means that when them players come back, not only are they going to be fit, but maybe they're going to gel in the team a little bit quicker as well and have a better impact from the bench or essentially when they need to be brought in kind of thing.
Certainly the trip in Dubai would have built some chemistry for the players. And of course, in Dubai, it is a Muslim country and we're in the month of Ramadan. How do you feel that could affect some of Everton's players, or at least 3 or 4 key players there that are observant? And do you think that means we have to make substitutions possibly earlier, introduce the likes of Alcaraz and Irabunum a bit earlier? You talked on that before because the levels aren't quite right. I mean, I looked at Mohamed Salah yesterday and he was really poor against PSG. And I do wonder how much not being able to eat and drink affects that. I'm not professing you to be an expert, but a little bit of common sense.
Yeah, I mean, it's certainly going to have an effect, isn't it? I mean, it's fantastic what any player who observes Ramadan does is how high intense and how much energy you expel. I mean, the amount of players that will have to take an energy pouch just during a normal game just to keep the energy levels up, and these lads are doing it without food, water, or anything like that. The benefit we've got is that it's an 8 p.m. kickoff, isn't it? So it's a pretty late kickoff. So that will probably benefit the team in terms of.
Nullified for this one.
Well, no, because you're still not going to be as full and have the energy throughout the day. So it is going to have that kind of effect. And and I think the likes of Decore and Adrissa Gay, who a lot of their game is based on the energy and the press that they do, they will still feel that effect. So they'll probably Decore will probably come off 10 minutes earlier. Maybe Adrissa Gay might not see the full game out. So you can certainly see that happening. But maybe this week we're not going to notice it as much as we would do if we were playing the 3 o'clock kickoff kind of thing.
No, I think Wolves will try and take the game to us. I think they play possession, and I just want to see Everton doing what they did against Brentford, picking off the opposition team, looking for those little holes. So we did it against Palace, we did it against Brentford. Listen, the United game we should have won. We all know we should have won for 2 reasons. The Brentford game we should have won because we had so many chances to be 2, 3, 4 ahead earlier on. I just want to see us do the same against Wolves. Just pick them off. Go and get the 3 points, routine 3 points, and start looking up even further up the table. Some of the other teams around us picked up wins in the last match, but I think Everton are the best of the bad bunch, really. I'm quite excited for the summer now. You saw the news today about Everton refinancing the debt, basically borrowing off Peter to pay Paul, but not in the bad sense. Peter's loans are a lot cheaper than Paul's loans. What do you make? What do you make?
I mean, it's fairly astute, isn't it? It's all blue chip, so it doesn't
not
feel like
microchip.
No, it all feels like it doesn't feel like we're getting in bed with the devil as we have done previously. Essentially, Machiri's getting us payday loans, hasn't he? So it feels like there's probably a more coherent strategy for it, which probably means now with this kind of loan secured or refinancing secured, it means that they're probably going to be aware of what financial package we've got to go into the summer. It's probably no surprise or no coincidence that this has happened around about the same time we've announced Thelwell leaving. They've probably identified that we're going to have this amount of money available, so we're going to use this profile of director of football or at least sporting team or acquisitions team. If we don't go for the sporting director route, we're going to focus more on that, which is going to be beneficial in terms of when you're paying out more money. Whereas Thelwell's been great at shopping in that bargain basement. We said, didn't we? I asked you what was your opinion on Thelwell after the change in our uptick in form, and you were very full of praise for him. But maybe he is better at dealing with that lower end of the price scale. Maybe we want to go for something a little bit different. The rumours that we're something about was
convincing top players.
Yeah, exactly. So, and I think maybe that's what we're trying to go for. Maybe a different profile and try and someone who's got a little black book. It's a little bit different than Thelwell's little black book or Yellow Pages.
Maybe someone who knows a little bit further outside the M6 would be quite useful. But I as I say, just to touch on that, I would have liked an alternative universe, maybe just to see what Thelwell would have done, because I do think he's identified some good players, but of course, he's brought in a lot of duds. And then I just defend him with that and say, he had no money. So there's a lot of arguments for and against there, but we have to trust that these people, these are businessmen, aren't they? They could pay off the debt. They've got the money. They could just pay off that loan for the stadium and do that if they wanted. But, no one wants to spend your own money. Everyone wants to spend everyone else's money. I know that because my missus prefers to spend my money over her money. Her money and my money.
I'll bet both. That's all right then.
So she has double. But I would say it's a bit more than double. But when I am quite excited. Got tickets to the test event as well, the second test event on March 23rd. I've been doing the stadium videos. We're over 3,500 subscribers now. And I think a lot of that's come from people watching the stadium videos as well and liking kind of the side content we're doing. The stadium's nearly sold out. I'd say there's 4,000 or 5,000 seats still left, predominantly in the north stand, above the away section, and in the back corners of the south and east stand. So We're getting there. I think we're near at the waiting list, and I think a lot of Blues on the waiting list are going to get an opportunity to get into Bramley more. But there's a certain excitement there. They're talking about, just to segue in that irrelevant statement into this, perhaps, is that the £350 million they're borrowing, the idea is some of it's going to go to kitting out the stadium. So the lounges, hospitality, leaving it late, aren't they? And then hopefully once we get the sponsorship deals, if they're dealing with these blue chip companies, I'm hoping, we can get the Dell Stadium or get one of these big names in. It's such a big deal because everyone always remembers it by your first name. It's got to be a 10 to 15 year naming rights deal, I think, with incrementing based on performance as well. Corey, would you say, just to bring you in there? If we perform in Europe, you have to pay us more money, for example.
I believe so. I think it'd be foolish not to, wouldn't it? Especially if that's our ambition, which it should be. So I think you'd say, just like you've said there, a certain amount every single year for 10, 15 years, once you're in Europe, because it's not an if, it's going to be a when. When you're in Europe, you get more because you go into a bigger audience, aren't you? Especially when you're playing in the likes of Europa League and the Champions League and stuff like that. So, yeah, no, I certainly agree. It's a case of who do we get? There's obviously people talking about the easy links, which is like Toyota and things like that. Don't know how much I'd see that happening. Could be one of them things where, do you remember how Manchester United used to have the Audi car seats in the dugouts and stuff like that? Potentially, see something like that. Them Lexus seats.
We need to be.
I believe are nice.
We need to be sponsoring every aspect of that stadium. But then once all that's done, I do want to see an Everton crest somewhere on the outside, or just some sort of Everton branding, because I've been critical of the fact that it is a magnificent generic stadium with no transport links. That's how I'm describing it at the moment. I'm wondering if my opinion will kind of be a bit more relaxed about the lack of branding when I actually go and see it in the flesh. It is beautiful, but it's almost too clean and not Everton-y. It needs Evertoning a little bit. And the thing is, we've still got issues with the parking, Corey. It's a major, major problem. I harp on about it. We want to have musical concerts and cricket and rugby and all this sort of stuff. You've got to be able to park your car. With the football would have been enough, but if you want to go more, Charlie, what I mean by generic is there's no personality. There's no murals of Everton players in the concourse. There's no blue concourse. There's no decorative elements that are individual to players that are standout. It just seems. Do you know what I mean, Corey? There's no EFC on the seats. There's no Everton. There's no crest.
It's like a new house. You move into, I wouldn't say a new build, but you move into a new house.
Absolutely.
It might be decorated a little bit, but so you made it look all nice and shiny, or your couch and everything, your wallpaper how you want it, but you don't have that lived-in feel. And that's what you're missing, the bit that makes it your home as opposed to just a nice house at the moment. It's a gorgeous house. It's a beautiful house, but it doesn't look like a home at the moment. And you need them metaphorical throw pillows, don't you, hanging off the
It's a hotel room.
You are. Yeah, it's a hotel
room.
Exactly. It's a gorgeous hotel room, but it's not your home yet, is it? And that's what you want. You want them little bit of extra touches, like you said, the murals, the artwork, the family photos.
Yeah, I agree. I probably overreacted. There are some things that they've done the Everton way, the pictures and all that stuff. But I'm just talking from what I've seen on the concourse. It looks like a big concrete slab on the floor. And, I'm hoping the concourses improve and a little bit more Everton branding there, because you've got to find a right balance between this is a multifunctional part of Liverpool. This is going to be a stadium for lots of different things, but also a stadium for watching football predominantly. 52,000 people every week, an average of £1,000 each. That's 52 million a year in revenue from season tickets, and the rest. So there's going to be money coming in there. So I just want to feel like I'm going to watch Everton at Everton's home in the future, not Everton at a stadium that Everton have.
Having the Everton history, mural and things like that in there, when your non-football fans or your generic fans or whatever you want to call them go to watch your music events, or the rugby fans will be going to watch the rugby game that potentially could be happening in November, they'll see then bits of Everton and they'll take that away, and they'll see to people who maybe not be standard football fans, people who have come from abroad to watch I'm not going to say Taylor Swift, but you know what I mean. The likes of them, they come abroad to watch a show, kind of thing, and they'll take that away, and then you'll be Evertonians in another international group somewhere. You'll have Evertonians down south, and the more fan base you get, and the more worldwide fan base you get, the more appealing you are to sponsorships and things like that. So that is also, it's about selling the club and it's about branding the club, and you don't want to overkill it, because then they might not get the same the feeling and the experience when your non-football fans go for your live events. But you need something there that people can go, I went there, this artwork was amazing, I didn't know there was this history, I'm an Evertonian now.
I wish it was that simple. I like that, but I also think there is an element of probably, do I want this to be from the business perspective? Do I want to put people off coming in here by making it Everton when this guy's an Arsenal fan, this guy's a Liverpool fan, this guy's so there's a balance. That's why I said they need to do something.
Yeah,
but
definitely,
I like your comments, Corey. Back to the Wolves game then, before we wrap things up. Team news, are we going with Doucouré, Alcaraz, Patterson? What's your team?
I think he goes, so O'Brien. I hope I got that right. Tarkowski, Branthwaite, Michalenko, Gay, Garner again. I think Doucouré gets the pip over Alcaraz, although I would choose Alcaraz. I think he'll go with Doucouré, Harrison, Lindstrom, and Better up front as well.
Yeah, definitely need to get Illiman and Dye back in the team. Not that Jack Harrison's played badly, but in Dye and Alcaraz in the team for me. And I think that would be our best 11 for the remainder of the season. I don't see any presentable option at right wing. I think McNeil will come back at some point. We're talking middle of April, but I think he slows the team down too much. And the way we've been playing is quite transitional. But he would definitely have a use. I would like to see McNeil back because the squad's so thin. We've been going the whole season with just 2 wingers or 3 wingers available. Let's get Ndiaye back in the team. Let's get McNeil fit as a squad player. Ndiaye straight in the 11. Brozier back would be nice to see some of him before the end of the year. Maybe there's be options for another loan for him. But your prediction, Corey, before I wrap things up here?
My prediction, I think it's going to be 3-0 to Everton.
Oh, wow. Convincing then, away from home against Wolves.
Vincent win away from home. I reckon we'll have 2 counter-attacking goals, similar to what happened, or high press goals like we did against Manchester United. But instead of dropping the ball, I think we'll then control the game and get one late on.
Moyes will not let it slip. He will not let anyone concede any more leads.
I think so, yeah. Either that or he'll be coming in with about 16 belts, flogging people.
Okay, now. Righty, Corey. Thank you so much, mate. I'll see you soon.
No, my pleasure, mate. All the best up the Toffees.
Thank you.